Steve, based on the latest housing data from your vantage point in Vancouver, suggests that the inventory levels for the month of July have been low. What do you attribute that to? Is that typical for the summer slowdown?
Yeah, we typically have a summer seasonal slowdown in the real estate market. I think this year has been more pronounced than any other year. And I think really it comes down to, it sounds rather simplistic, but I think people are just excited to get out of their houses. Here in BC, Vancouver particularly, we got high vaccination rates. The economy is pretty much fully open. And everybody just seems to be at the summer cottage. The realtors are taking some time off and the sellers are taking a lot of time off. And so, if we look at what's happening with the new listings, across Greater Vancouver in the month of July, we had the fewest number of new listings in 11 years. And it's even worse for, the single family housing market, which has seen the most rapid price growth of any segment. It's a 20 plus year low in the number of new listings for single family homes. So that's really the root cause of the inventory crunch that we're under right now. It's just there's really very few listings coming to market right now.
Ultimately, what does that mean for the fall? I mean, if you've been seeing a month or two of low inventory, how does that play out for the fall? Has this been intentional that sellers have been waiting for that typical fall sales time?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, I think that we're definitely going to see, again, from a seasonality perspective, we typically see an increase in September, October. I think we'll get more of that again this year because I think there are some sort of quote unquote pent up sellers that, held off their plans this summer because they just want to go out and enjoy life. And so, it's going to be interesting though, because we are starting at an extremely low base. So yes, sales have come off a bit, the market has lost some of that sort of fear of missing out, but there are still a lot of people that want to buy. Sales are still running above 10-year averages. So you still have a lot of buyer demand. And unfortunately, the cupboards, so to speak, are still bare. And so it's going to take some time for inventory levels to get to a level where you get back to a balanced market. So, if you're a buyer looking forward into the fall market, it's still going to be extremely tight market for inventory, regardless of what happens with new listings, just because it takes months and months for that inventory to build from this very low base that we're at right now.
Do you think ultimately demand will then go hand in hand as you see more listings come on the market?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak personally for a lot of my clientele. Like, we're trying to help them buy something, but there's nothing to actually even show them. There's just no listings coming to market. So I think that in the fall, you're going to see a pickup, a normal pickup in demand, as well as a pickup in new listings. So I think overall, you should see a pretty active housing market. Again, I don't think you're going to see what we saw, in this spring, which was this unbelievable frenzy. I think we're out of that now. I think we're getting to a price where you're seeing, a place where you're seeing some price stabilization, but the inventory problem has not been solved. So that's going to be a pretty tight market in the fall.
You had mentioned the single family home, and as your report suggests, as housing cycles go, typically that single detached home kind of, as it trends higher, it pulls the condo market higher. Tell us what has been happening on the West Coast with respect to the condo market. Do you think it will outperform in the fall, and will it outpace that detached market?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think that, typically what we see here in Vancouver, you go back several decades, is the single family market always tends to lead the market higher. And then eventually, prices just get too high and buyers step back. And that's when you start to see they look for other alternatives. Obviously, when investors start to see higher prices, they start to speculate on what might go up next. And that tends to be the condo market on a lag. So we saw that in 2016, 17, the single family market peaked out in 2016 and actually started to decline a little bit. And then in 2017, condo prices went up 20+%. So what we're seeing right now is the condo markets is playing catch up. I mean, the prices are up half of what they are compared to single family or townhouse. And we're seeing a resurgence. Interesting enough, we're seeing a noticeable pickup in the downtown market. One bedroom condos. We're seeing, lots of competition for those between first-time home buyers and investors. So the investors are coming back to the table where they've been pretty much non-existent over the last 10 to 12 months. We're also seeing an increase or a resurgence in the downtown rental market. So again, if you're looking at the investors and how active they're going to be here moving forward, a lot of that comes down to the strength in the rental market, and that has definitely improved since the onset of the pandemic.
There have been so many conversations with respect to whether or not we're going to see this reversal as it was with the exodus to the suburbs. Of course, there's a lot of speculation in Ontario, specifically the Greater Toronto area. Tell us from your perspective in Vancouver, what's happening there?
Yeah, we had intense price run-ups in the suburbs. Everybody's well aware of that sort of urban exodus, looking for more space, work from home, hybrid models, that sort of thing. So you've seen this unprecedented price run-ups. I mean, you're talking about, here we call it the Fraser Valley. The Fraser Valley has seen the strongest price growth, detached prices up anywhere from 30 to 40% in the past 12 months. Same thing goes for the townhouse market, not far behind that. So, in my opinion, that's certainly a frothy market. I wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback there. I mean, anytime that you get 30 to 40% increases in 12 months, I mean, it almost would be healthy and natural to see a pullback in that market. It's not sustainable. And I think that that's something I'll be keeping an eye on here moving forward.